Hello everyone. In this video I want to talk about Turnitin and how it can help you. So right now I'm logged into Momentum. I'm in the folder for the first draft of paper 2. And as I scroll you can see that everyone who has submitted a paper has a number with a color in this column, the Turnitin similarity. And some of you have rather high numbers, some of you have really low numbers. So what this is telling you is the percentage of information, of words in your paper that matches some other source. It could be another paper that's been submitted to Rhode State or another school. It could be sources that are online. So by looking at this, I wouldn't automatically think that if somebody has, like 59% or even 92%, that the paper is plagiarized. I would think, well, there might be some problems in there, but I wouldn't automatically jump to that conclusion that it's plagiarized. But I would definitely want to go into that paper, into the Turnitin similarity readout, and see what the similarities are. So in order to get into your Turnitin similarity, you want to click on the color, okay? And that will actually take you into the paper so that you can see how things are highlighted and what actually matches up. So right now I am in someone's paper. This is not a paper from our class or from this semester. It's just a sample paper I'm going to show you. So when you click on that color, you're going to get a screen that looks something like this. If it doesn't look like this, I recommend that you, if you have the option, and click on a different sort of Turnitin, because I think there's Turnitin Classic, there's a different version of Turnitin, so just play around with it until you find a screen that looks like this. And this is actually the beginning of this person's paper. The person did not put the header information and stuff, which for my purposes here, I'm kind of glad about that because that way I get to keep the person anonymous. But anyway, what you want to do is click on the number that's over to the right. So this one is 66%. I'll click on that. Now notice what comes up. I get all these numbers, right? And I get associated web addresses. Sometimes I'm told that the information that is found in the paper was also found in a paper that was submitted to a different school. All right. And what I look for, let's go to the number, I'll click on number 1 first. Okay. And it takes me to this paragraph. Caffeine is a psychogenic drug that crosses the blood-brain barrier. Well, it's possible that that could be common knowledge, but I really think that probably the person would need to give credit for that information. So as it is now, nothing is being given credit, nothing is being acknowledged as coming from a source. So I would look at this and I would think, wow, this is going to cause plagiarism problems. So this person really needs to give credit for where he or she found that information. I'm going to click on the next one. Okay. Now this tells me this was submitted to a university, to a school. If it's submitted to a school, if it's a student paper, it won't show me specific details about that information, but it will tell me where the information that matches up is located. So I can see in this paragraph here, last year Medical News Today reported on a study suggesting that consuming 3 cups of coffee. So I really want more information about that though. Like for this person's paper, I would really need more specific information about where this information was found. Okay, also I have a strong feeling there's exact wording here. Okay, when something's highlighted, it's pointing to exact wording. And we know, based upon my discussion earlier in the semester of summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting, that when you use exact wording, you must use quotation marks. Okay? And also, whether you're quoting or summarizing or paraphrasing, you must give credit for where you got the information. Okay, so I see issues going on here of it not being adequately cited, but I also see issues of exact wording. Okay, and that would constitute plagiarism. So let's look at number 3. Okay. Well, just looking at this, I do see exact wording. Now, it's different when you see some words like phrases that, I mean, how else could you word that? Like 200 milligrams of caffeine. That's probably pretty much common knowledge among medical professionals, that you probably, shouldn't have a certain number or milligrams of caffeine. But this one has to do with if it may boost long-term memory. I don't know, that's pretty specific. So definitely that needs to be acknowledged, like who the source for that is. And then anything that's exact wording, okay, like this person hasn't really used quotation marks at all. This person's just plopped the information in there, and I can't tell where it's coming from. But I know, based upon the Turnitin similarity, that the wording is exactly the same as some other source. So you definitely want to go through your whole paper, and you want to make sure that if something is matching up, it's quoted. If you're using exact wording, it's quoted. You want to make sure that you've given credit for that information. All right. Let me see if there's anything else I need to look at here. Check out number 5. Okay, which appears to be right here. Okay, routine caffeine intake has been shown to affect sleep patterns. These effects depend on the amount of caffeine consumed over the whole day. Well, what it appears to me is that this whole thing has been taken from somewhere and plopped in the paper. All right, and remember that if you are summarizing, you are condensing the information, you're hitting the high points, the main points, and you're avoiding the use of exact wording. However, you must still give credit for where the information came from. If you are paraphrasing, what you are paraphrasing will be, or how you're paraphrasing it, the length of your own paraphrase will be roughly the same length of the original thing that you are paraphrasing, or it might be a little longer than that. But still, you're using your own wording, you're using your own sentence structure, and you have to give credit to the source. Okay, let's see if there's anything else here I should take a look at. Number 8. Okay. Now, this window that pops up, you can kind of see where this is coming from. You can see that it's exact wording, okay? So, if something is common knowledge in a certain field of study, sometimes it's okay to just state that in your paper because everybody already knows it anyway. But the parameters for what defines common knowledge are pretty strict, okay? So things in or ideas in a field, if you find that information in 5 different sources, and not sources that have borrowed from each other, but 5 different sources, it's usually considered common knowledge. But if you have any doubt about it, you definitely need to give credit for that anyway. Okay, and let me say a couple more things about this. So in our textbook, the Prentice Hall Reader, it talks about the percentage of direct quoting, exact quoting that you should not exceed. And it does say that you should not exceed 20%. So if I take a look at this number, obviously that's much, much higher than 20%. So that kind of clues this writer into the fact that he or she needs to go back, look at the source information that has been used, definitely summarize, and definitely paraphrase this information that is obviously exactly worded but not quoted. Okay. Also, this person needs to give credit for that source information by using proper signal phrases that include maybe the author's name and perhaps the title of the article or the title of the source. And something that's probably adding to that percentage, though, would be the, well, she doesn't have one here. He doesn't. I can't remember who wrote this, but he or she doesn't have a works cited page. But I will tell you that the works cited page will often look the same as other people's works cited pages because maybe they've used similar sources. So you just want to, keep in mind that yes, the works cited page will kind of bump up that percentage, but I don't really take that into account. What I'm looking at is what's going on in the actual body of your essay, like in your actual essay. Right, so I encourage everyone to open up your Turnitin similarity checker and see what it shows you. Now, if I do see portions of your essay that are exactly worded, but they're quoted, and you've used quotation marks, and you've cited, like you've told me who the source is, where that information came from, then it's okay. All right, it's okay. You just want to make sure that it doesn't go too much above 20% because I'm taking that works cited page into account. Okay, but what the problem is when people have exactly worded material, but it's not quoted. It's just kind of tossed in the paper. No credit is given. All right. So those are the things you want to check in your own paper.